that particular
not really. I think it goes back to cultural reasons, because if you look at 11th of February 2011, the collapse of the administrative system in Egypt was due to the fact, to what you just said, that the entire country and its all institutions, more than 3,000 institutions, are all revolving around Mubarak. So nothing happens if Mubarak doesn't say so. And what we're trying to say here is that we never really had institutions that drives visions and objectives and policies irrespective of individuals. So if we take, for example, some of the systems that we see in Western Europe or the United States, the system is always there, so Obama goes and comes. It means really very little to the citizens themselves. This is, if you want to do this in Egypt, it's going to take time. And as I said earlier, you're going to have to work on cultural mindset. You need to change that. It's not about loyalty to the president compared to the reality to the nation itself, compared to loyalty to the institutions. So if we are able to change that, and it's going to take time, because as I said, political change, social change, legal change can all take very little time, but when it comes to cultural change, I think that takes a very long time, because now all of a sudden you're telling the Egyptians, look, we're going to have to reduce the subsidy, we're going to have to let you rely on institutions rather than the person themselves. So we want to, at the end, or ultimately reach a point where if people have a problem with sewage, or have a problem with water, or have a problem with electricity, or have a problem with parliament, they don't run to the president, because that's not his job. So this is going to really require a lot of integration and efforts of a lot of institutions, whether the Ministry of Culture, Ministry of Education, Ministry of Youth and Sports, the cooperation of Al-Azhar and the church. All these institutions can work on an integrated approach or a plan to change the mindset that Egyptians have, and from that on we'll see a development of solid institutions, whether on the parliament, the legal system and the government. All these institutions can run the country, and Egyptians will be able to really weigh the options.
If you can excuse me again, we have with us live over the phone Dr. Bassem Fahmy, a new member of parliament. Good evening, Dr. Fahmy, congratulations.
Thank you. Good evening to you.
Of course, we can't be able to conduct the phone call with you without asking you about the where do we see the women members of parliament standing in this new parliament? 79 members?
90.
90?
Which is a good thing.
90 members. 90. How do you assess that?
Well,
are you satisfied as a member of parliament?
I never look at the number. I always look at the performance.
Right.
Sometimes you could have a shorter list with very strong performance. And in other cases, you have a long list with a very modest performance.
That's true.
So what I can comment on is that I see that most of the ladies in the parliament are really performing well. They're trying to make a big effort, and I think they are seen. So even though it is, if you say 10%, around 10% or a little bit more, no, more than 10%, 15%, but still I can see them around, I can see them performing, I see their impact, they're contributing in discussions, especially in most committees like the Economic Committee, Budget Committee, and others. So I think, in my personal view, and I always said this, it is never the number. Is the efficiency, is the performance.
Not the quantity, but the quality.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Dr. Fahmy, like you said, it's the quality but not the quantity. But do you think it's the problem of increasing the participation of the number of or the quality and quantity of women in the parliament, the House of Representatives only, or it is the issue of empowering women in political life, in different walks of life, in social activities in society, in decision-making positions, for example, unexpected positions that weren't attained before by women. Do you think that these are issues also that you might be concerned with in the new parliament as women?
Well, I am really concerned with how the women will perform.
Right.
And I always say, being a woman, is the choice of the woman. The woman has a very long list of responsibilities. Some of them compromises, and I can manage, and some others cannot. Because when you see the responsibility of a woman, before being anything, she's a wife, she's a mother, she's a sister, she's a daughter, she's a wife. Yeah, it has a long list of responsibilities in addition to being a doctor or an engineer or lawyer or member of the parliament. So it's a heavy load, you see what I mean? Nevertheless, I see them performing. I never felt, and I always say Egypt is not a country for such an issue to be discussed with one of the first countries on earth to have queens and princesses and women managing the country. So if you go back with the history, even if you go through the Islamic period, the same. So I think it's not the issue of a woman can do or cannot. It's yes, we need to empower. Some people are trying to change the image of the Egyptian woman, and you understand what I mean. But I think in Egypt, we are a 7,000 years history, and I repeat, one of the countries on earth that had the first queens and princesses. So I think Egypt doesn't have a real problem. The real problem is an economic problem in my
Right, and this is what is going to be about my third question to you, Dr. Fahmy, real quick. You are in the Economic Committee in the Parliament, and today the Economic Committee approved 6 law-effect decrees out of 11. If you can elaborate on that.
We have approved the 11, not 6.
11.
Yes.
If you can shed some light on that, please.
We finished reviewing all the laws previously issued. On Saturday, we're going to write the final report. It's going to be presented to the Parliament for discussion by everybody. But we meant today, which is Thursday, to finalize all revisions of our laws. We had a very long meeting today with His Excellency, the Minister of Investment, who came because we had some questions to be addressed, and he explained to us his point of view. And inshallah, on Saturday morning, we'll meet again for final touch. We're sending to the head of the committee, Dr. Al-Maselhi, by mail or our final opinions, and then we're going to write the final report to be presented to the chairman of the parliament by Sunday morning for the parliament discussion. So we have reviewed everything, not only 6.
Right, Dr. Bassam Fahmy, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much.
And Dr. Bassam Fahmy, Member of Parliament 2016 Parliament, back to you, Dr. Mehana. Earlier, head of the Central Auditing Authority charged there were several serious corruption cases among the state sectors, and 90 members of the Parliament requested to investigate a report issued by the fact-finding committee assigned by President Sisi to investigate Guinea's statement. What will happen with this case in the first, as being, because it's important as the first thorniest stop to come in the way in the
I'd like to ask a question, and the question is to President Sisi as well, where the 90 members of Parliament gathered to sign off to question why Mubarak was freed. Why are you questioning a report that was issued by a central agency? Did you gather before to question why Fath Surur was gone out? Did you gather to question why Ahmed Aziz was freed? Why are we questioning agencies that are trying to fix this country? We are classified one of the top corrupted countries on earth. We need to be quite clear on that. And I think the report, I'm not talking about the number, I'm talking about the principle. The principle here is the central agency for accountability that Mr. Guinea issued the report. Some people have objection on a number. Fine with me. But here it comes down whether our objection or agreeing to the number is legitimate. That can only be done through investigation. So have a committee of experts that sit with Mr. Guinea and question all the reports. No, you're wrong here. No, this one is right. This one is wrong. This one is right. So in the end, say, no, out of the 600 billion Egyptian pounds, we probably about 50 billion Egyptian pounds that are correct, and the rest are all just illegitimate or wrong. And then get these people into the criminal law. Because this is what we need to do now, is look at the content of the report